Morning, guys. Mark Fresh, Protect Dog Training, and Ginger, who's all fired up, ready to go. She says, I'm fired up, ready to go. Good girl, good. All right, so we've been talking about pressure on, pressure off, and I've been accenting a lot over a lot of my videos as of late, accenting the aversive side of things. The reason I'm doing that is because, one, I'm not too bad at it, but secondly, I believe in it as far as it being an important thing to be able to teach dogs to take pressure and then pressure on, pressure off, like you see me doing, so they learn how to relieve that pressure in the proper ways of doing things, right? Good. Yes. It doesn't mean that my whole world revolves around that. It's just an accent point that I've been accenting lately because of the fact that I don't see any other trainers accenting it that much. Justin touches it. Rigney, he talks about pressure being what creates diamonds and all. That's kind of where I got that, but I've heard it many times before that. But in a general sense, nope. Good, 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 good. There you go. Yes. Good girl. Good. There you go. Yes. Good girl. Good. It's an important aspect in training and overall, because I'm not advocating punishment or corrections as a correction, but pressure, and understanding that when you take pressure on and pressure off, the dog learns to find a way out of that, and you get into avoidance and escape, and it's an important aspect of the psychology of dog training. It really is. Whether society as a whole demonizes it because you've got all these people running around with purely positive and thinking that everything's a world of hot dogs. And I kind of equate this, I keep coming back to it, talking about that child and their development and how parents treat their kids. And you'll see a kid fall on the ground and squeal and, oh, he's going to die. And he's got all this negative attitude about falling down on the ground. Another child with a father maybe that's a little bit in that child's life, and a man's versus a woman's attitude is just, let's go, come on, get up, rub it out. In other words, I remember getting told that all the time when I was a kid, rub it, it'll feel better, right? So that kind of thing is important to understand, because adversity is a part of all our lives. Dogs, any animal on God's green earth has to learn with consequences. And when I talk about consequences, it's not always negative consequences. There's positive consequences as well, right? Good, good. She's learning that. That's what we're teaching her. We're teaching her how things add up. 2 and 2 always adds up to 4, right? Certain things happen. Yes. Now, she's a ball of energy. She wants to jump on me. I'm going to start teaching her the word off. Doing that. So we're talking a little bit about theory, but it's important to understand that it's an integral part of dog psychology, because dogs live in a world of just gray, black, and white, right? This happens, right? And they really do well with that, because that's just life. Good. Good. Yes. Good girl. Good. There you go. Good girl. Good. A lot of what I'm doing right now, whether you realize it or not, is I'm releasing the food in a nice succession. When she does the right thing, boom, food's released, right? That's the opposite side of the coin of putting pressure on and then pressure releases. We're showing her how to get to positive, right? Good. And she's a smart little girl. She likes to work too, so it's kind of cool. And then again, when we get her back home, it's all about the owner learning and growing and having a proper relationship with their dog, right? Good. Because I can train the dog till I'm blue in the face. The dog might work for me, but it ain't going to do no good if you don't get off the couch, put the work in to get the dog working for you and build your relationship with the dog. Good girl, good. Nope, nope. Good girl, come on. Come on, there you go. Good girl, good. Yes, good girl, good. There you go. Okay, so we're going to use the aspect of the box, and she's locked in there a little bit. Her psychology-wise, she's going to have an effect because of the box, right? So I'm going to use it to my advantage. Nope. Good. Trying to teach her not to break. We're just adding more in. Good. Of the 3Ds, which is distraction. Good. Distance. Nope. And right away. But I kind of baited her into that. It's not really her fault. I did a little bit of a bounce backwards with my body language with my YEP release. Yes. Good girl. Good. All right. So let me keep working on our 3Ds. Remember what the 3Ds are? Distraction. Me bouncing around in a circle, that's distraction. Distance. Nope. You notice distance is what she's breaking on right now, right? I backed up a little bit. Good. She wants to break. Told her no, and so she's learning what the no marker means. Good. Just with my social pressure is all I'm giving her. I'm saying no, and I might tap underneath the belly, making it a little uncomfortable, right? And I might pinch with that a little bit, not heavy, not long, just enough to irritate her, right? And that's my correction level for that right now, for the most part. There's times I might bring it up, but for the most part, I'll kind of tap, 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 and make it a little bit uncomfortable and get the dog to go back and down. That's my no correction, right? Good. Nope. Good. There you go. Come on, come on, come on. Good. All right. Good girl. Yes. Good. So now I'm just adding in all the dots, meaning the same things happen again or yes. When you do the right thing, yes. That's when you get yes. Okay? So I need to start spreading my time level out between the yes, the marker, and the reward. Yes. So you can mark. Justin's got a really good video he does with a Labrador he's got. He's doing scent work with a Labrador, and he's saying yes when the dog does its job to identify the scent, and then he's taking forever to go get a chuck it. And he's trying to accent his accent point where that video is really a good one, because what he's doing is he's accenting that you don't need to be right at the immediate time. And a lot of us, and me, I'm guilty of a lot of these type of things when I'm showing all these videos. And so I'm a great example. It's probably why they're accenting it, because they're seeing me screw it up. I've got a tendency to do too much luring. The dog's mugging my hands. So how to get through that? The time interval between the time that I give the reward after I say the marker, which is yes, then reward, right? We got to have that separation. In the very beginning, we almost do it immediately because we've got to tie it together. Once the dog understands it, we need to start stretching that. Yes, then, okay? So we'll keep working on that. I've got to build some habits within myself because I've got real bad habits of doing it too quick and doing it right on top of the dog, and the dog has a tendency to mug my hands. One trainer was calling it jazz hands, where the dog wants to mug your hands and follow everything you're doing with your hands. And that's another bad habit of mine. And I've got a lot of growth to do in these certain areas. Nope, nope. Good. I said no, and she right away came up. Nope, nope. Good. That's what I'm trying to show her, is where the positive's at, right? Good. 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 Ginger. Good girl. Good, Ginger. Yep. Good girl. Good girl. Good. So she's learning to learn right now. I like it because I'm seeing her wheels turn. Her brain is processing. Nope. Come on. Let's go. Good girl. Good. Up. Good girl. Good. Practice on my sit and my down. Okay. Good. Outside of the box, a little higher. It's a little easier. You got to bend so far down. Trying to see if she'll do it. Good. When I just tap the nose, right? Tap the nose and a little bit of a downward motion to see if she understands it. You're probing sometimes. A lot of times you're working a dog, you get to a certain level, you got to probe to see how much do they understand, how much do they need more, etc. Right? Nope. 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 Good. Okay, I kept it up, used a little bit of help in the front end, right when she came up, right away, timing. Right? Good. And this is one of those times it's real important to have good timing because her wheels are turning. She's trying to figure things out. She's learning to learn. And I'm making sure that I'm consistent with my 2 and 2 always adds up to 4. In other words, these things always happen the same way. Yep. Good girl, good. Or supposed to anyway. Right? Good girl, Ginger. Good girl, Ginger. Good. All right. Yep. Come on. Good. So to the owner, pay attention to what I'm doing. Yep. And try to have the same timing involved with your yes marker. And what do we have? We have yes, good, no. Look at her, she's trying so much. I love to see the exuberance from the young student. Yes, good girl, good. I see that. She's full of piss and vinegar today. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. All right, so we're going back to this one, trying to keep her farther back on the table. Nope, and this helps with something else. It's not just the action, in other words, where I want her to sit on the table. That's important. But what else is she learning out of this? Pressure on, yep, pressure off. Right away when she sits, I'm putting pressure off of her, right? And then right away go to my positive body praise that I use a lot of. Every trainer is different. That body praise, I really believe in because I've been doing it for so many years. It's how I teach the dog to sit straight, teaching them to sit up in the proper posture instead of being lazy and rolling on that hip, right? Either in a down position or a sit position. We want a nice structure here. So you see me, but this adds up to a bunch of other things the dog's learning, not just the action. That's what I'm trying to accent. Good. Right back to my 3Ds, right? And then keep working on the clocking. And now she's picking up on the no marker. So what I need to do is keep that up so she keeps learning from it. Good. And she wants to move. You can see her twitching when I get to here. This is usually your first spot. And then after that, nope, nope, right away, okay? Nope, nope. Good. And I'll teach her a word with this, which is correct, after we go along. I'm going to keep that thumb in there until she does what I want her to do. Nope, nope, no, no. Chastise tone, make it real uncomfortable for her backing out like that. If she learns she can get away like that, she'll do it a lot more often. Good, good, good. There you go, good. Yep, and then get away from it, break, and then come back to it. I'm going to do a bunch of other stuff and then come right back to that one. Remember, when you struggle and you're trying to kind of struggle through this process and she's balking and she's fighting you with pressure on you and all that, remember, a lot of times it's better just to get away from it. So break, do some other stuff, get her back in flow, and then flow back into it is the answer, right? Good girl. Yes. Good. Yes. Good girl. Nope. Nope. Yes. Good girl. So she's learning that no marker right away from me robbing her food, voice tone changes, all that stuff that she's picking up on. So again, it's not just about heel, sit down, stay. Yes, it's a lot about right now teaching her markers and positive and negative, right? She's getting a no marker. She's getting my finger put into her, and she's learning from that. Just because we're trying to get her to stay in a down position in the right posture, there's more to it than it seems, right? You need to realize the timing, the flow, how you enter things, how you do things is important. Good. Yep. Good, good, good. Good, good. Now, I just did that. I was leaving slack, letting her make the choice, but she did it on her own. She wanted to stay back. She knew this was going to happen. The pressure that doesn't feel as good. Nope. Good. That's good, girl. Good. And then I'm laying in good when she's doing it right. As many pebbles in the bucket, as I call it. I look at it as a behavior. And if I want a complete behavior, I've got to get to the point of proofing and making sure that the behavior is really well set in, right? So you see me right away reaffirming good, the positive when she does the right thing, right? It's real important because that's going to add up. Think of it like a bucket. If I take a bucket and I throw a small little pebble in it, a positive, then a positive, then a positive, and then all of a sudden I have a negative that I have to take a pebble out, right? So we keep doing that until we get that bucket to fill up with thousands and thousands of repetition, and finally the bucket will overflow, right? So again, positive and negative, real important. And I look at it again, I have that little explanation of it as pebbles in the bucket, right? Is what we call it. And I heard that from a trainer many, many years ago. And as usual, a lot of my vocabulary comes from watching trainers and being into how do they communicate? How do they say things? How do they break things down? What is their accent points, right? Yep, that's the important aspects of doing this in a certain way, and then learning and growing from other trainers, because there's always somebody to teach you something. Like I just went over that. Justin, I've known that I've had the problem with the mugging hands. I've got like 3 dogs I've gotten. They've all done the same thing. I need to learn and grow through that. It's going to take me time. It's going to take me getting around the right group of people that'll slap my hands. And basically, I've got to be humble enough, and I've got to be in a learning state of mind myself, right? As a professional doing this for so many years, I've got an ego just like anybody else. I'm human. And because of that, it's real important to be able to put yourself in a learning state of mind to learn and grow when you're around other people that might have other accent points and other things to point out that you may not see, because we're all human and we all have a tendency to have blinders on. And we may not see something that somebody outside of that blinders may see, and they'll point it out to you. We call them spotters when you're talking IGP and Schutzen's, where the word comes from, spotters. There'll be other club members that'll go out there and they'll usually ask somebody to spot for you. And that person can now accent things that you may need to work on that you may not see. Remember, we're all human, right? It's important to really, I'm really working on that right now, where I really need to learn to be humble, because I've got some goals and some things I'd like to do that are going to require me to be in a good learning state of mind and be a good student and to be humble. And that's going to take me time. Nope. Good. And the first key is to see it, right? I got another young trainer that has gone through a lot of growth. He's in PSA, and I watched him in the very beginning, and he had a tendency to, his insecurities were causing him to be a lot more negative in his behavior and what he was doing, and people were taking a disliking to him real bad. And then boom, he saw it, and he grew through it, and he's doing a lot better now as far as a trainer. And I see a lot of growth in him, but mainly it's his mental state of mind. Where's his head at when he's coming into learning and growing? He was too egotistical and thinking he knew everything. And this is real typical with most young trainers that come into it and they think they know everything. And I've had plenty of exercises. There's probably half a dozen of them that are out there. If they watch the video and they hear me talking about this, they right away know that they were the person I'm talking about, where I've shut the door on them. As soon as you start acting like you know everything and you start coming at me real strong like that, I had one guy who was telling me, I'm going to be doing seminars, and he was just all proud of himself and telling me how he scheduled this seminar with a location and this and that, like he was all that. He stopped doing that, and he now has an off-breed. I won't mention the breed name because people know who people are. And over the last couple of years, dealing with this, it's a very hard off-breed. It's challenging, right? I've got a lot of respect for him. Looking at him and seeing how much he's learned over the last couple of years, learning to see where his head's at now compared to where it was when he first started. But I always run into that. I try to help people, and I was letting him take bites off of Joker and off of Buddy, and he thought he was all that, and he really wasn't. And now I think he looks back and realizes I was right. Most of these kids that I've done that with shut the door on them. They all look back and they know I was right, but it's who they are as an individual, right? Good. Good. Real important to have the right mental attitude. As a trainer, as a teacher, that's another thing. And you'll hear, they'll probably talk about it amongst themselves, but bottom line is those that have gone online and started yakking at the screen and started try to be a teacher to other people, you learn so much from teaching, right? When you teach, it reaffirms what you already know, or it discounts it or whatever, but you go through a process and you're learning as you're teaching. And it's one of the coolest things as far as the growth of a person that wants to be a trainer, to see them grow through that and where they're at now and where they're at a year from now, 2 years from now, right? Good boy, good. We all are human, guys. All right, I'll talk to you later. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training in Ginger.